Hi, I'm Linda from American Patchwork and Quilting, and I'm here with Marie and Vicki from Handi Quilter, and we're looking at this vintage quilt top that inspired you to quilt a whole nother top. So let's talk a little bit about this quilt top.
So what you see is it has 4 different large appliques. So I tried to do the same thing, 4 large appliques, which then left lots of space for quilting.
That's called property,
yes.
right?
Yes, lots of real
property.
estate. Yes. So I really wanted the quilting to show. This one, I blended the thread, where you can see the difference on this one. The thread gets the attention. You can see all of the stitching. These patches were not so square, not one just like the other.
So it's all hand appliqued, kind of a whip stitch on all of it, or were there different techniques?
You know, I almost wondered if 2 different people made these because they're not the same in size, not the same how they were stitched on. So then when I started quilting it, I had to make decisions, not necessarily symmetrical.
Okay, so that helped in your design choices because you were being dictated by the antique quilts.
Right, right.
Perfect.
And so, again, the thread color also makes it look a little aged, where on the other one, it just blends, and you see just the texture.
No, it does. Did you use 2 thread colors here, or is it the same thread color?
Same thread color.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
It
because
looks
it's
like white
it's
here.
it
kind
looks
of
much lighter here, but I
yeah.
think just the difference between the bright solids versus that more ivory solid
Yeah, so
really
it
shows
adds
up.
a texture to the solid fabric.
But it doesn't really scream thread. It
No,
just gives
no.
you a nice texture there.
Beautiful design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get these little diamonds.
Because you use 2 layers of batting, you used your 80-20, and then a wool on top of that, you've got that
so then-
dimension.
So you get a lot more dimension, right?
So when you left some open property there for it to really shine.
Yeah, so you
stand up.
quilt this down, and then it makes that feather just puff up.
It did,
Yeah.
too. It looks beautiful.
Now-
and also the channels that you've added throughout it.
So 2 lines always draw your eye, and with this quilt, I used the wave ruler, and then I just used it different positions.
Okay.
And I have 2 different designs on this one, so kind of a cable feather and then the back and forth stitch. Where on the other one, same thing, I used the wave ruler and then just lots of different positions. But the same thing, you kind of want this channel that directs your eye. You kind of need some places that aren't quilted all the way down so your eye can go there.
Sure.
But this one has lots of different backgrounds. That one, right behind the applique, it just has the same applique or the same pattern behind each similar applique.
Now, I know you're a pretty experienced quilter, so I don't know if you marked things, but if you were going to do this again, would you recommend marking some placement lines or something like that?
Totally, before you put the quilt on, you want to have that big diamond marked out, because when you get it on your long arm, you do not know where you're coming and going, you know, so you want it marked. And the other things were, like, especially with the vintage quilt, where some things were kind of puffy or had little discrepancies.
We're laying quite flat.
So you could kind of mark those out as you went and kind of.
So when you got this quilt, it had some holes in it.
So it was just a top, yeah.
And it had some stains on it. So what did you do? Did you do anything?
You know, you
And it
never
had
know
some
for sure
waves.
what's going to happen to the top if you wash it. So I just quilted it.
Okay.
The imperfections, I just left them there.
Okay.
And I don't think we could see the holes. I don't bet we could.
No, I don't
even
know that
the
you've
little
noticed them.
stains sort of add to the age of it, I think.
Well, and it is an authentic quilt top that's antique, so
Yeah.
being able to capture that. Now, on the other quilt, again, much more symmetrical since, you know, we made it with modern technology and tools and templates. So that one, what did you do for the around those appliques?
So around each applique, I measured and marked, so I knew I was going to echo just that far out. And the same thing, I did this double line, so it's a 1/4 inch that kind of accents it, I guess, breaks it apart from the background quilting.
And what do you mark it with?
Well, my favorite tool is the air erase.
Okay.
But
you have to get to it right away, right?
There are some things that you have to mark that are lasting. And so on white, you know, you have to go with a darker, and I tried a friction pen on this, and I was happy with that. So some places I use that. So,
and those come out with heat and water.
Right, so you have to be careful that you don't use the same pen in the same area,
because one's going to water.
Right. So both will come out with water, so we're good with that.
Perfect. Thanks so much for these great tips. I can't wait to try a medallion design on my next quilt.